93, 93, 93. This is Aman Asharanu from asharanu.com. In this particular article, we will be speaking about member of U.S. Congress dies in car crash. Jackie Walorski, which is a Republican from Indiana, and 2 staff members were killed in northern Indiana. U.S. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski died on Wednesday in a traffic collision near Elkhart, Indiana, along with 2 members of her staff and the driver of another vehicle. The Indiana Republican was the ranking member of the House Ethics Committee. According to the Elkhart County Sheriff Office, which responded to a call at around 12:30 local time, Walorski and her staffers died as a result of their injuries. The driver of the vehicle that traveled left of center and collided head-on with their SUV died on the scene. So she was 58 and the 2 members of her staff was 27 and 28. And the driver of the other vehicle was 56. So what we see is someone just collided straight into the car head on. Now, they're not mentioning whether the driver was intoxicated. They're not mentioning the state of the driver. And I'm not sure if they ever will, because whenever we're dealing with, people that are within the law, the congressmen and all that, details tend, not to be as open as other details, right? So we saw this also with Pelosi's husband, who was drunk driving and ended up getting into a collision. And it was days before we even received a mugshot. They essentially tried to bury it as if it never happened at all. And this is the same husband that's connected to all these Chinese investments, but that's a different article. So the death of a congresswoman, again, we see these effects coming from Jupiter and Pluto retrograde. Jupiter represents a person that works within law, someone who is famous. And of course, Pluto represents death by force. So we're not talking about, you can say, accidental. We're talking about a forceful death, a sudden death, sudden impact. Those are the energies of Pluto. And the reason I mentioned the driver, because we are also in a Neptune retrograde. So it will be no surprise to me that the driver was actually intoxicated or under some type of influence of some type of drug, especially when you're veering off of the road and you crash head on. So obviously their mind was not in the appropriate place in order for that to happen at all. So of course, that chaotic state I definitely put towards the energy of Neptune. And because Saturn is also in retrograde, and Saturn represents the government, that's why she was a part of the ethics committee, the head of the ethics committee. That's Saturn. So I'm reading all these stories, and of course, much respect to the family, much respect to the woman. This is in no way to glorify the death or to downplay it. I'm just running into these articles, and the more I read, the more sense it makes to me as to how these retrograde energies are playing out. So I keep doing these articles, just showing you how different and how many realms are being touched by these planetary retrogrades, whether we're talking about sinkholes, people dying suddenly, whether we're talking about world economics, inflation, bracing for a cold winter, all of these things that are occurring all around us, meaning the whole world is being affected in a way that we haven't really seen for quite some time. Because things have been pretty cool. Like ever since 9/11, things have been cooled down. But now things are beginning to get more and more karmic because of everything that's occurring. Well, things are getting karmic because of the planetary forces, and that's what's causing all of this madness that we see in the world. Which once again, this represents a shift in power, because now that the Congresswoman has died, now someone else has to step in her place, and I guarantee the way that they run the ethics committee will be different than how she ran it. So now it represents a new shift in power once again. So we're going to continue to see more and more of these things, people being taken off of the map and being replaced by someone who does things completely different, bringing in a shift of a new world politics. And with that, I bear peace. 93, 93.